All right, everybody. I read over some of your design journals. I saw that some of you submitted it yesterday. That's fine. If you haven't submitted those, please make sure you do so for an easy 100 grade rather than a 0. For this week's assignment, we'll be continuing on our logo and we will be completing it. Okay, so this is the final logo. So everything should be neat. It should be taken as a final design. Okay. You do not hand in an essay with scribbles all over it and erase marks all over it and crumpled up. And if you typed it, there's no smudges or stains or anything like that. So there shouldn't be anything on your final logo either. Okay, it should be nice and clean. The only thing that should have a mark is the logo. Okay, so where there is white space, it should be nice and clean white space. If it helps to draw out the logo, and then take another piece of paper and trace it, do that. You all have access to be able to trace things by just using a window in your home or on your car, anywhere, okay? You can just tape it up to a window, put the piece of paper on top of your original drawing, and trace it. I do it all the time for my personal work. I don't have a light box at home, so I just use the windows. And if you feel that drawing it out nice and big, you're probably going to make some mistakes and erase marks, so drawing it out and then tracing it is a really good idea. I'm actually going to include that in here. I didn't type it because I just thought of it right now. I go over the requirements in this first paragraph, but I also wrote the requirements out for those of you that need things twice. The requirements are final size, at least 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Okay, that's width and height, but they're interchangeable. Okay, so depending on if your logo is longer in length than height, obviously it's going to be 8.5 by 5.5. If it's longer in height, it's going to be 5.5 by 8.5. Okay, so they are interchangeable, and this is the minimum. Okay, it should not be smaller than this. It doesn't have to take up all the space, but if say if you have a word mark, it should be written nice and big so it touches at least 5 inches, at least 8 inches, at least 8.5 inches. So you're making these nice and big. I'm not going to be measuring them, but if they look too small, I'm going to take points off. Okay, I know what a piece of paper looks like, and I know the sizes of the piece of paper. And I also know if you're trying to zoom in by taking a picture to make your image look bigger. So please definitely don't do that, okay? Don't play me for a fool. They need to be in color. The color could be added with whatever you want. Color pencil, marker, crayon, paint, whatever, okay? If you have access to digital programs and you want to do it digitally, by all means, I encourage you to do that. You do not have to. It is not required to have Photoshop, and I've made that very clear. It has not been required to have any types of digital programs since school's closing. So everything we are going to be doing from here on out is done with basically paper and pencil. Okay? And please include the name of your product if it's not already included in your logo. So say if you have a graphic mark, right? It's not a word mark. You just have a graphic mark. You make your design. Just write your logo in the top right corner, bottom right corner on the piece of paper so I could look at your logo and be reminded of your name, okay, instead of having to go back and look what your name of your product was, okay. If it's already included in your logo, if you did a word mark that clearly states your product, then you don't need to include the name, because I already know the name by looking at your logo because it's a word mark. If it's a combination mark, then you don't need to include it as well. Everyone that does not have their name, your product name written somewhere, will get points taken off of. So if you just want to be safe, just to make sure that I see it, twice maybe, write it in 2 places or something. But those are the requirements: the size, color, on regular paper too. So I shouldn't see, loose leaf paper or essay paper. If you don't have access to regular paper, please send me a message, okay? Send me a message if you do not have access to regular paper, because I would like to know, so going into grading, I am aware of that, okay? If you do not send me a message, I am figuring you're just not reading instructions, okay? And again, I just tell you to watch this video. If you have any questions, message me. You can message me on Google Classroom or email me. I'll probably get back to you within the hour, if not sooner. That is really it. Okay, so final logo. Make sure everything's clean. Do your due diligence. Excuse me. And then we'll move forward with part 2 of this kind of product design next week. All right. So I'm going to start reading over some more design journals right now. So I'll talk to everyone soon. Let me know if you have any questions.